Oh boy, I am kind of excited to bring this one to the review. Just because I've had such a good experience with it, and it's something that I've kind of had my eye on for a little while, but I didn't actually pull the proverbial trigger until relatively recently. And the pistol we're going to be talking about is this weird thing here. This is a Springfield XD-E model, so it's not like your usual XDs. It doesn't have the grip zone on here. Okay, this is a later model, so. Everyone knows the Springfield XD models or the HS Produkt 2000 pistols, essentially the same thing. So Springfield is of course the importer for these, and HS Produkt is the Croatian-based, actual factory that makes these things, right? So they came out with the XDE model here a couple years ago, and they have since discontinued them because I guess these things don't really do anything that anybody wanted, which after shooting this for a little while, I can kind of understand why. I don't necessarily agree with discontinuing this, but hey, I don't run their company, so that is that. But so I've been looking at this thing for a while because there's really nothing quite like it. Now, of course, I have the long barrel version because I love long barrels on pistols or long slide versions. But yeah, there's nothing really quite like this. So it's a polymer frame double single action single stack pistol. Okay, you can tell here by the magazine, it's a single stack. Despite that though, this is actually still kind of a chunky big gun. Maybe not chunky in the terms of like the width. I mean, it is a little wide, I guess, but if you line this up to like a 365 or something like that, yeah, it's going to be about the same size, maybe even a little bit larger, which it's kind of damning for its capacity because it is a single stack, right? And it's also quite tall for a pistol, so it's it's a big chunky thing. And they had to do that, of course, to fit the hammer mechanism, as you can see right there. And of course, there is no grip safety either, like all the other XD models have. Also has a ambidextrous safety here, which I quite like, and it also doubles as a decocker. Cool, very cool. So very conventionally minded kind of double action, single action type of pistol. There's nothing really crazy about it. Just the fact that it is, of course, polymer framed and single stack pistol. It's just kind of odd in that regard. But I kind of like odd pistols, and I like weird things like that. I mean, I've got my SIG P6, which is essentially just a P225, slightly different model, but things like that. So in terms of practical application, what role does this thing actually serve? And I think it's the real reason why they discontinued these. It's just too big, too clunky, kind of. For its size, it doesn't really do it doesn't do anything better than the leading micro compact carry pistols do. I mean, it's not even optics ready, right? So you can see it's got the loaded chamber indicator in there. I've got a snap cap in there right now, but it's not even optics ready. They didn't even bother with that. And concerning the mechanism, of course, I don't really think they had room. They'd probably have to get rid of this loaded chamber indicator in order to do that. And for a lot of legal importation reasons, maybe they couldn't have done that. I don't know. But the point is, this thing literally doesn't do anything that any of the other micro compact carry pistols do better. So that's probably a big reason why they got rid of it. But me being a kind of a gun aficionado, I kind of like weird things like this. So, and everyone knows that if you have a properly made single action type trigger pull, it will be better than your usual striker fired trigger. In almost every single case, and this is no exception. The single action on this is actually very, very good. Maybe a little heavy on the heavy side, but in terms of like a defensive kind of carry pistol, practical application pistol, it's totally fine, totally serviceable. And the double action on this actually isn't too bad either. It rather reminds me of like a stock USP trigger almost. So if you're familiar with the even like I'd say even a 226. If you're familiar with the double action pulls on those, this feels extremely similar to those. So, not the best double action pull in the world, but certainly not bad either, and totally serviceable. There's nothing wrong with it. So, I purely got this purely because the range I go to also has a gun store section, and they had two of these pistols sitting there in the case, and I was looking at it and I was like, hey, what do you guys think about those? And they said, oh well. Those things have been sitting in the case for, 2+ years because nobody wants them because, they just, you know, when the Hellcats came out, you know, nobody really wanted the XDs anymore. So everybody went with the Hellcat, and these things have been sitting in here for years. And I said, interesting. So they've been sitting here for years. How about you give me a deal on one? So the manager is like, you know what, screw it, fine. Get 10% off. It's like, sweet, that basically covers the tax. So I got this for an okay deal. I wouldn't say it's the best price, but considering what it is and the fact that, you know, these are actually somewhat difficult to find, at least in the long slide versions like this. The 3.8 and the 3.3 inch barrel versions are, of course, a little more easier to get than this one. I think, anyways, from my very brief gun broker searches and just history of seeing these things. So I got an okay deal for it. You know, I was like, all right, fine. And so what it came with is the usual like cardboard box. They don't ship them in the Springfield kind of plastic carry cases that have the foam on the inside. They don't ship those anymore. So the newer models, the ones that you know, do not have grip zone, lovingly etched on the grip there. The newer ones that don't have that, they now ship in cardboard boxes, and in those cardboard boxes, get usual like accoutrement, things like that. They have like little fiber optic replacement inserts, so you can change the ones on here for red or green. Yeah, and they got a replacement red one, of course. They also come with this little case here. That's kind of cool. It fits the pistol just fine. It has a little pouch here. You can put your extra magazine in, so that's nice and convenient. You know, it's very clean kind of packaging. Nothing crazy about it. But yeah, it comes with one 9-round mag. I'll take that out. I wish it came with more mags, honestly, but yeah, whatever, right? It's not like they're supporting this gun a whole lot. But yeah, one 9-round mag here and one 8-round with the little extension here on the bottom, which you can swap out for a flush base plate. I'm not sure why you would, though, because for my size hands anyways, as you can see with the mag out like this, my pinky tends to not fully, you know, grab the whole thing. So with the 8-rounder in, make sure it's in, that actually fits pretty well. Although there is a cavity here in the back, so I'm not sure if I can illustrate this properly, but if you look right here in the back, there's basically a space here, especially down here on my hand, which, you know, makes it a little bit harder to shoot and get a good grip on it. But with the 9-round mag with the extension on it, it fills that up right in there really, really well. And oh man, it fits my hand excellent. Yeah, it's skinny, of course, because it is a single stack, right? But ergonomically speaking, this feels like a really solid pistol. I love it. So that's pretty good. What else? So yeah, kind of basic what it comes with and everything. So yeah, nothing groundbreaking there. The interesting things also about the ergonomics of this too is that, like the other XD pistols, it comes with an ambidextrous, truly ambidextrous magazine release. So you can see here where it got a button here, and you also have a button right there. So that's pretty cool. The way it works is that there's basically a pivoting lever that goes like this, that sits on the inside of the frame here, and that's what locks into the mag and allows it to be ambidextrous, so the button can be pushed in either direction. When you push that button, the lever goes from out to in, so the mag comes right out. The only problem I've encountered with that is the simple fact that I don't know if I can illustrate this, but the simple fact that the button sticks out here on both sides. When you push one side, of course, the rest of the release has to come out the other side. Well, if your hand is right there in the way, or you got a finger, or you got some kind of meat in the way, if you're trying to push that, I have noticed times where I'm trying to be fast, and it'll actually push against the meat of my hand there, and it tends to interfere just slightly with a positive magazine ejection. On top of that too, because of the kind of the shorter grip on this, I have to be very careful where I put my pinky here in the lower meat of my hand, because if I'm not careful and I'm really gripping this like this, and you can see my meat kind of covers a bit of the magazine well there. If I'm not careful, when I go to put this in, it'll pinch the absolute heck out of my hand there, and that's no fun for anybody. So typically when I'm trying to reload this kind of quick, I'll leave my pinky out like this, shove the mag in, and then re-engage. But that's just a little oddity, of course, of working with a grip this short. It feels a little unbalanced when you have the gun like this, because, well, at least on this model with the long slide version, it's kind of front heavy. It kind of dips a little bit because you get all the weight here in the front, and with a short grip, it makes it for a kind of an unbalanced kind of feel. But when you have a magazine loaded up with ammo, with the full 9-round magazine in here, it still I think it balances very, very well. So certainly this mag balances a whole lot better than the shorter one does. This one's still kind of, it's okay, but the extended mag is better for shooting. So okay, what else? So the other thing that Springfield likes to advertise about this is how easy this is to rack, and I will absolutely give them that. This thing is super, super easy to rack, and that's because this thing has an absolutely gigantic guide rod and recoil spring here. Let me take it apart here and show you. So another thing too that I forget about XD pistols is that the takedown lever release here, this lighting's not the greatest, but anyway, that lever there, instead of swinging down, it swings up. So I was struggling with that a little bit. I was like, why is the takedown lever not going in the right direction? Anyway, so you flip that up, take the slide off, and there's absolutely nothing crazy about the design here. It's your standard what you'd expect. But the recoil spring and guide rod are huge in comparison to most things that you see. Actually, it goes this way. Yeah, I mean, look at that. The thing's a big honking piece of steel and a massive, massive recoil spring. And the reason why they do that is one, so it fits, and two, with all the other lightning cuts they've had to do in the slide to make it work properly because it is longer. It's just the physics of how this works. To make it reliable and function as well as it does, get that in there, they have to make certain changes to the design, of course, to make it work. So, but a pleasant side effect of the fact that that recoil spring is so long and relatively lightweight, you got all the leverage to pull on it, is that racking this is incredibly easy. And it's pretty smooth too, I have to say. This thing is like really, really smooth. In terms of like sending the slide home with the slide lock release lever, super easy. Even with an empty mag, and you'll notice this on a lot of other pistols. If you have an empty mag in here and you lock it back, and then you try to release it with the slide lock release lever, a lot of guns are like very, very stiff. And of course, they get easier if you have a round like in the mag like this. And you go to load it, and you hit the slide lock release lever. Usually, it's a lot easier if you have a round. That's by design, of course, but on an empty one like this, you'll see this at gun stores all the time. People are, handling the gun, they're fooling around with it, and they just absolutely cannot send the slide home with a empty mag in it, right? This one is incredibly easy and very easy to do. So that's a nice little pleasant thing. I personally like that very much. So, so with all that, how does it shoot? So I was very, very pleasantly surprised with how accurate this was, honestly. I like a very good single action trigger on any pistol that I can, because of course I grew up shooting 1911, so a good single action trigger, I definitely appreciate that. And normally revolvers will typically have like your best single action triggers and 1911s, of course, but you typically don't see like the finest, best single action triggers on a DASA gun of any variety, right? And this one is actually pretty good. Like I said earlier, it is a little heavy. It doesn't go off quite exactly when I want it to, like when I just think about it and it goes off, like my 586 Smith or my Colt 1911, right? When I just think about it, it goes off. This one, I got to put a little more conscious pressure behind the trigger to make it go off, but it's very clean. So on that, the accuracy part of it, I mean, the first 10 shots I took with it at 10 yards, I just tore the center of the target out, and it was no big deal. I will say, I think this gun shoots just a tad too high. So at 10 yards, I would basically have to put a 3-inch circle, which was my target, basically on top of my sight picture here in order to hit the center. So it was hitting a little high at 10 yards, and I thought, okay, no big deal. When I took it up to 25 yards, holy cow, that thing is hitting way, way too high. And we're talking like maybe 4 or 5 inches high at 25 yards with just regular like FMJ 124, 115 grain ammo, right? So I'm like, that's a little bit high, but I can deal with that. So when I did accuracy testing at 25, I used some nicer match ammo. So the one of the nicer match ammos I like to use is Gecko or Gico, whatever, hexagon match ammo. And that stuff is super hard to find. They don't really make it all that often. But that ammo has been very, very consistent for me for a lot of my pistols. So I decided to reserve some for this gun. And it performed just absolutely bonkers. So the first 5-round group that I did at 25, I got 4 rounds, like literally in the same ragged hole. Just this tiny little, like maybe like 1 inch across ragged hole, 4 rounds. And then of course the 5th round I pulled that was totally me. I felt that one, it wasn't good, and it ended about 2 inches low from that tiny little hole that I had torn in the target. So at that point I almost wanted to quit right then and there and just call it good, because I was like, there's no way I'm getting better than that. Like 4 shots, literally same ragged hole, 25 yards with, you know, something like this. Like, dang. I not only impressed myself, but I was very impressed by the pistol. And I was just like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I kept shooting some more groups, and some, of course, were not as good as that, but there were definitely some good ones. And a constant trend that I had was I'd get 4 rounds, just really, really good, and then the 5th one would just go somewhere else. And I definitely feel that was more me, not the pistol, because just after a while, because I was shooting a lot of guns that day, after a while your hands just get kind of tired, you get tired, and when you're really trying to concentrate all that long for that often, you know, you just get tired after a while, right? Everyone's been there. But I have a target here that I did save, which will show you some examples of not so great groups and some that were actually okay. So here we go. This is all at 25 yards, 5-shot groups. So this one you can see here, nothing to write home about, no big deal, right? This one here, I got 4 rounds here, and then the 5th one, I'm assuming went off probably the page off to the side here. You know, this is kind of a small target to use at 25, but yeah, and of course my point of aim was like down here at the bottom of this circle, and it was hitting way up here. So, you know, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, about 4 or 5 inches high. So having to compensate for that too doesn't make it, of course, the easiest to shoot well. But anyway, so yeah, there's 4 rounds in there. Not bad at all. And then here's another one here where I got, again, 4 rounds here, and then a 5th one down here. Yeah, shame on me. This one here is, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 way over here. Yeah, that 5th one just always throws me off. And then, of course, this one up here, that actually is 5 rounds within this little group here. So, you know, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, yeah. Very, very happy with that. And of course, like I said, the first group that I got, you know, fresh with this pistol, just 1 ragged hole there with 1 flyer. I was like, man, regardless of anything else I did that day, I was very happy with that. So this thing has proven to be just exceptionally accurate, honestly, at least in my hands. And of course, with all single action pulls and things like that. And I've had also no reliability issues at all whatsoever. I fed hollow points through this. I've loaded this all the way up, both magazines, full capacity +1 in the chamber, with hollow points, FMJs, flat points, whatever. This gun just ate it all, and it just kept trucking. So the accuracy is excellent. The trigger is pretty good. And ergonomics are pretty good too. They're okay. Not the best, but okay. And honestly, I just think it looks kind of cool, you know, because it's got the long slide look to it. I don't think the shorter barrel versions look as good, and a lot of people have this kind of negative connotation with XD pistols. They're like, oh, it's an XD grip zone. Yeah. Anyway, I will say though, as far as the shooting experience too, when you know, you think about like bore axis and things like that. This slide does sit a little high, so this thing does tend to I wouldn't say it has harsh recoil, but it definitely is flippy, I guess. It moves a lot under recoil. And I noticed this too when I was shooting it one-handed as well, that this thing was just, you know, it wanted to go places. It doesn't like to sit still very much. And that's just really owing to the design more than anything. I think the XD striker pistols probably, well, they definitely shoot a lot flatter than this one does, simply because it's much lower than this one. This one I think also has a bit of a heavier slide too than those other pistol designs, just due to the nature of, well, how it's constructed. So yeah, all the things that really matter, right? So performance, accuracy, reliability, everything. It was perfect on this gun, honestly. Really good. And this thing I think is a total sleeper, but I also understand on a practical side, when you compare it to other options you have today, there's almost no reason to own this other than as an oddity, or just because you like it. You know, it's like Marge Simpson just saying, I just think they're neat. And that's pretty much my whole take on this. I just think they're neat. So I almost want to go back to that store and buy the second one they have here, and then maybe do something cool like, weirdly enough, Langdon Tactical does work on these, of all things. Because people know them for like their 92 series guns and their HKs, right? One of the things they actually did was a special edition XDE model, and I thought that was like why? But it's pretty cool they offer that. So I mean, if you like these things as much as I do, I mean, that's probably what I'm going to do. Go buy the other one and send it off to Langdon so they can do their special thing on it, and just make it even nicer to shoot. So, yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed my experience with these, and this is actually my first and only Springfield, like, anything that I've bought and owned myself. So, and that's for a number of reasons. All the political stuff that's going on with Springfield, their lobbyists and things, and not so great decisions they've made. And the fact, of course, that Springfield Armory, the company today, has absolutely nothing to do with the actual historical Springfield Armory. It seems kind of scummy, I guess, to try to write off of that name. That'd be as if, somebody went and, I don't know, bought Colt and then started making things that had nothing to do with Colt, something like that. It's just taking a name like that and using it for your own purposes when it has nothing to do with it. It just seems kind of scummy to me. But anyway, I will say, I will give the credit, though, to the Croatians. All right. The HS Produkt stuff has been getting way, way better over the years because everyone remembers the early HS Produkt 2000 pistols, the early XDs were kind of garbage. Honestly, they weren't that good. And that's a reason. Well, one of the reasons why I will still not own an XD pistol, a regular XD pistol, to this day is because I just don't like them, honestly. Now, are they better than they were before? 100%, yes, absolutely. Will they work for a lot of people? Yeah, they will. I just personally don't really want to own one. So, but this one being as different as it is and performing as well as it has, I'm just thoroughly impressed by these things. It just works, right? As a famous game developer once said. So yeah, again, practically speaking, there's almost no reason to own one of these things. Pretty much every pistol out there does something better than this gun. But for what it is, again, being single stack, polymer frame, double action, single action pistol, there is nothing else like it. And, I'm glad it exists because I've had a lot of fun with it. And, I wouldn't feel, necessarily like I couldn't stop a threat if I needed to, if I was carrying this. But, if I'm doing a single stack automatic pistol, I'm probably going to go with a 1911, not this, so, and, but yeah, so just, I understand why Springfield discontinued this, but at the same time, if you haven't tried one of these things, and there's one sitting at a pawn shop for like nothing, or in the used gun counter for like nothing, and you got a few bucks to drop, and you want something different, right? You want something just something different. And then that works well and is accurate, and it's just good, right? Definitely give one of these a shot, try it out, see if you like it yourself, because I certainly do. And just another little weird oddity pistol for me to add in my collection, and it just tickles that little collector bone in me just a little bit. So yeah, I figured I'd bring this to you guys because this is normally not something I really cover, because again, I just don't do Springfield products like ever, so I am very happy with this one. So props to HS Produkt over there in Croatia. You guys are doing great stuff. I even like the Hellion. I shot a rental of that, and it was pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not sure I'd buy one, but it was good. It was good. It was okay. So great job, guys. This is fun, a lot of fun, very accurate, reliable, does all the things a pistol should do. Maybe in the future they like revamp this model and make it like a 1.5 stack, and they put like 15 billion rounds in the same size magazine, right? And they give it like an optics cut and maybe like a threaded barrel or something, or they do one of those stupid like little like built-in compensators. I don't know, right? Whatever the modern trends are, if they update this pistol, I'm all there for it, man. Like that would be super cool to me. I would love to see that. So hopefully they do something like that. Knowing HS Produkt and their kind of willingness to branch out and do different things, that would be kind of cool to see. But yeah, anyway, so enough gushing about that. Just thought I'd bring something a little bit different to you guys. Like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with the Springfield XDE. Good job, HS Produkt, and yeah, hope to see more from them in the future. So that all being said, we'll see you next time.